Hello, and welcome to this American History podcast entitled Ratifying the Constitution. In the last podcast, you learned how the Constitution was created, and in this section, you will learn how the Constitution was ratified or approved. Okay, so our big idea is that Americans across the nation debated whether the Constitution would produce the best government. The framers or the writers of the Constitution knew that the Constitution would cause controversy, and they began to work for its ratification or its approval. The framers knew that people feared that the Constitution might give the national government too much power. So the framers explained that the Constitution was based on the idea of federalism. Now, in a federal system or in a system of federalism, the national government and the state governments share power. The people who supported ratification or approval of the Constitution were known as Federalists. People who opposed the Constitution were known as anti-Federalist. Federalists believed that the national government needed power to guide the nation. Anti-Federalists thought that the Constitution took too much power away from the states. They also thought that it didn't guarantee people's rights. Both sides published their arguments in newspapers and pamphlets. The Federalists wrote and published essays in support of the Constitution. The best-known essays were called the Federalist Papers. They were later published in a book called The Federalist. The authors of the Federalist were the most famous of the Federalists at the time, and they are shown right here. We have Alexander Hamilton, and that's Hamilton. And then we have James Madison. And then we have John Jay. And those were the leading Federalists at the time. Most of the newspapers supported the Constitution, and as a result, they gave more publicity to the Federalists than the Anti-Federalists. Even so, opposition to ratification was strong in many areas. The leading anti-federalists of the time were Patrick Henry and George Mason. They refused to sign the final Constitution. They refused to even really discuss signing the final Constitution and encouraged others to follow them unless the Constitution had a Bill of Rights added to it. By late June of 1788, 9 states had ratified the Constitution. However, New York and Virginia had not yet voted. Now, 9 states was all that was needed in order to approve or ratify this new Constitution. But New York and Virginia were very important states. Without New York agreeing, the nation would be separated into 2 pieces geographically, and you can kind of see that by the map here. If New York says no, then you're divided with one part of the country saying yes and the other part of the country saying no. Or at least there would be a division of the country, and they did not want that to happen. Without Virginia, the new government would lack the support of the largest state in the country at that time. So they definitely wanted to get both New York and Virginia to both buy in or agree or ratify the Constitution. Well, both New York and Virginia did agree to ratify the Constitution with the condition that a Bill of Rights would be added. James Madison, a member of the new Congress, proposed a set of amendments or changes to the Constitution. Congress edited Madison's list of amendments. Then they proposed to add the amendments to the Constitution. As with the Constitution, 3/4 of the states had to ratify the amendments or approve the amendments before they could take effect. In 1791, 10 amendments were ratified and became law. These 10 amendments to the United States Constitution became known as the Bill of Rights. Now, we will talk in upcoming chapters about the Bill of Rights and specifically what they guarantee to us, But at this point, it's just important to know that these were rights that were added on in order to get all of the states to agree to ratify the Constitution. Now, in case you missed it, here are some of the arguments that were made in favor of the Bill of Rights. First of all, the national government. Some feared that the national government would take too much power from the states. Another point was that the Constitution by itself did not guarantee rights for people. And then our last point is that people's rights must be listed to make sure the government does not take away or violate our rights. So this is really the arguments of the anti-federalists and those that were in favor of adding a Bill of Rights. Well, I hope this helped as we've looked at the arguments in favor and against ratifying the Constitution. Have a great day.